Silver Linings Investments. Silver Linings Investments will be a real estate company that will house three LLCs: real estate, property management, and home building. During the first year, real estate and property management will be the sole focus of the company. During year two, home building will then begin being implemented. Silver Linings Investments will be divided up into three different departments: operations, real estate, and construction. Operations will be under the operations director, who will be over finance and human resources. The broker in charge will be over real estate, which contains sales and property management. And the engineer will be over construction, which includes project management and purchasing and costs. In the equity structure, it has been split between the founder, the three investors who will also serve as board of directors, the CEO, operations director, broker in charge, and the engineer. In my personnel plan, I have split up the departments and employees into teams. I have a senior leadership team, an operations team, a real estate team, and a construction team. My senior leadership team consists of the CEO, operations director, broker in charge, engineer, executive admin, and the receptionist. So the CEO, the operations director, the broker in charge, and the engineer will be responsible for creating all processes, procedures, and guidelines for all the departments and the business. I want them to start out on the ground level. I want them to build it up. That way, if their employees ever have any questions, they will be able to answer it for them, no problem. So my CEO is going to answer to the board of directors, and the director reports will consist of the operations director, the broker in charge, and the engineer. The CEO is going to be responsible for making sure day-to-day operations are running efficiently. They're going to be responsible for revenue growth objectives, customer acquisition, and property developments. This is a hands-on role that will help with high-profile clients and deals, fixing, pricing, and signing business deals, signing checks and documents on behalf of the company, and will develop and implement effective processes, procedures, and communications. So, moving on to the operations director. The operations director is going to oversee the finance and human resources practices and employees. They're going to prepare and distribute financial reports, budgets, statements, forecasts, and payroll for each respective department. And they'll also be in charge of hiring and training employees for every department/companies. The broker in charge is going to be the head realtor, who's responsible for all real estate practices and its employees and policies. They're going to be responsible for reviewing all transaction deals with support from the CEO, and they'll work with direct reports to set and meet both sales and career goals and provide general guidance and support. So they're going to be responsible for planning and implementing company strategy and operations regarding real estate. And they're going to ensure that the legal policies and procedures are being followed by all employees under real estate. The engineer is going to be responsible for overseeing, managing, and planning all company building projects, responsible for preparing bids, reporting to clients, public agencies, and planning bodies. They're going to assess projects from all aspects: risk, environment impact, feasibility, materials, costs, and time requirements. The engineer will also be responsible for creating building designs, blueprints, and for each project. They're going to be responsible for knowing how to perform every job role within the department in case something happens. The executive admin is going to report to the CEO, operations director, BIC, and engineer. The executive admin will act as the administrative point of contact between external executives and clients. They're going to make sure that the senior team is taken care of. They're going to schedule meetings and travel, handle senior leadership requests and queries appropriately. And they're going to be responsible for ordering office supplies, documenting dictation and minutes. The executive admin will also serve as a supervisor to the receptionist. who will be responsible for directing all visitors and clients to the correct department pertaining to in-person and phone calls. They'll receive mail and documents and deliver it to the correct department. They're going to handle all website inquiries and make sure to send out on the correct departments. They're going to handle any other duties assigned. And they will report to the executive admin, as I said before. My operations team is going to be responsible for developing and managing financial systems and policies, company website, and information technology between all three companies. They're also going to oversee HR tasks for all three companies as well. So I don't want to read every job description for you. I did want to go over the senior leadership team, but the operations department is basically going to consist of everything that the operations director is going to be responsible of. And if you want to take a couple minutes and pause right now and just read through, you're welcome to. So I'm just going to go through and mention the rest of the teams. So for my real estate team, the real estate and property management team is going to be responsible for all real estate practices, employees, and policies. This team's going to house the real estate employees and property management employees. My construction team, which is going to be my home building LLC, they're going to be responsible for overseeing, managing, and planning all company building projects. And I'll just quickly touch on this. This includes ensuring legal guidelines are met, health and safety requirements are met, and they're going to make sure that we have the materials that we need when we need them, and they're going to analyze the monetary costs and other factors like labor, permits, contracts. They're going to make sure all this is handled, and it's going to be handled by construction. Here's my personnel salary spreadsheet. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because you can pause it if you'd like. But my salaries are pretty competitive, especially in this area. I do want to point out a couple things. You can see where I have waited to hire the managers for the operations and real estate. And this is because during that first year, I want my senior leader team to be the ones to, I guess, be the example. I want them to say, yeah, I did that job. I know what it's like. Because I think too many leaders these days forget what it's like to be on the front line. And I never want my employees to feel like that. I want everybody to, even if you do make it higher up, I want them to treat the frontline employees like their brothers, their sisters. Okay. So the operations and real estate managers aren't going to come on till the end of the first year, right before year 2. But I do want to point out another thing, and that's the 3% yearly increase that you see. I want to reward my employees, so every year, based on their performance, I'm going to give them a salary increase 1 to 5%. I'm only budgeting 3% though, because I imagine we will have employees that are not going to perform well. They might get 1%, but that's another issue. So we'll move on. Also, you can see in construction that we're not going to touch that until year 2. So that's all on that. And like I said before, you can pause it if you'd like. Here's my recruitment selection and implementation. I wanted to give you another view of the org chart so you can see kind of my management team. And here are other little blurbs about the different departments and what their job responsibilities consist of. So here's my A players, and these are the people I really want to talk to you all about. My Chief Executive Officer is going to be Melissa Bush, also known as Melissa Williams. She's not only a player, she's a type A personality. She's worked in real estate for a little over 9 years, but she also works with a multi-million-dollar millionaire who strictly invests in companies, and that's how he's made all his money. So not only does she have contacts, but she has knowledge. She has worked in every aspect of real estate, and that's what I need. That's the CEO I need. And it helps that she's determined, she gets her work done. She's a go-getter. She's that A player, type A personality that I need and want for my CEO position. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. Okay, so for my operations director, I've chosen Tara Reed strictly because of her experience and my working with her in the past. She has 20 years of working in HR experience. She's worked in employment and in training, and she does a great job at what she does. For my broker in charge, that's going to be April Bird, strictly because this is a sales position. She's worked with nothing but high-profile clients. She has a bachelor's degree in business, a master's in legal studies. She's worked 18 years in marketing and 20 years in management. And she's only 44. You can tell she's an A player right there. For my engineer, I have not found one yet, but I know I want a retired engineer, especially for my year one. For my finance manager, I've chosen Stephanie Martin. She's young, but she's an A player. She has a bachelor's degree in finance. She has 3 years in marketing and 1 year in accounting, and she's currently working for a multi-million-dollar company that's a global company, I think, and it's based out of Asheville. My human resources manager is going to be Hawk Walkenstick. You can see that he doesn't have a bachelor's degree, unlike my other chosen A players, and this is because he knows every state and federal regulation regarding employment. He has recruited and hired hundreds of employees. He knows what he's doing. He's already tried to be acquired by another company, so he's great. My sales manager is going to be Tashina Rodriguez. She's got a bachelor's degree, sales experience, and she's a go-getter. She'll get the job done, and she'll get it done right. My property manager is going to be Kiana Hornbuckle. I've hired her strictly for her organizational communication and regulatory experience and skills because she sees black and white, and she gets the job done. My property manager and purchasing cost estimator positions have not been filled yet. I am keeping an eye out, though. For recruitment selection, during the first year of Silver Linings Investments, the founder, CEO, and respective department head will recruit, interview, hire, and train all employees. After the second year, the department heads and their managers will be responsible for hiring and training employees for their department while working with human resources. Recruitment will consist of advertisements in and through social media, local newspapers, and word of mouth. Interviews will be different for each department. For operations, we'll have private and/or panel interviews. Comprehension and math tests will be required. For real estate, unless we're wanting newbies, real estate employees will only be hired if a current employee can vouch for them. Real estate is a tight-knit community, so we already know who will add value to the company if we are wanting to hire newbies. Panel interviews are a must, math tests required, and sales pitch presentation required. For construction, private and/or panel interviews, building demonstration required. Although interviews will be different for each department, all interview questions will be centralized around emotional intelligence. Exit strategies. My first plan is going to be passing the business on to a successor. I would love for the business to stay aligned with my values and hopefully to stay on with as an advisor. If that doesn't work out for my plan B, I would like to merge with another real estate company in the area so we can complement each other and so I can still stay on as an advisor and maybe some of the values can stay intact. For C, it's going to have to be acquisition. If I can't liquidate, I'd rather be bought.